This video is sponsored by the Crazy Kings of Toys. Come visit their website and see why they are so crazy. Hey everybody, Tony Bears here again, and this is Off the Toy Shelf, a toy review show. And in this episode of the Toy Shelf, I'm going to be talking about the G.I. Joe 25th Anniversary Flint in Cobra Disguise action figure. Now, of course, this is a variant of the original Flint figure. Now, this figure is based off Flint as he appeared in the episode Vines of Evil. And this episode is the second episode of the second G.I. Joe miniseries before the ongoing series titled The Revenge of Cobra. And this miniseries is the Weather Dominator storyline. And this episode is also the first appearance of Shipwreck. Flint is portrayed by voice actor Bill Ratner. Bill Ratner reprised his role as Flint in an episode of Family Guy entitled North by North Quahog, as well as in several episodes of Robot Chicken. In G.I. Joe Retaliation, Flint will be played by DJ Catrona. And now on to the figure review. Now let's take a look at Flint in his packaging, and as you can see, it looks almost exactly like the classic packaging of the 80s. At the top left is the choking hazard warning, and at the top right it says from the G.I. Joe cartoon series. And underneath those, you can see the classic G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero logo. And below that, on the left, is a nice piece of artwork of Flint. And on the right is the figure itself, which is in a nice clear bubble. And you can easily see all the accessories that comes with the figure, which is great for in-package collectors. And at the very bottom left, you can see the classic Hasbro logo. And on the back, at the top, you can see other figures you can collect. And at the bottom, you can see Flint's file card. Now let's free Flint from his plastic prison. Okay, here's Flint out of his packaging, and taking a look at his sculpt. It's actually a very nice sculpt. There is a lot of detailing on here. For those of you who have a Cobra Trooper figure, you pretty much know what to expect here. Because Flint shares many of the same parts, Hasbro basically took a Cobra Trooper figure and swapped out the head and arms to make him this Flint figure. There's a lot of sculpting detail, especially in his clothes, with the straps on his clothes, his belt, the knee pads, the boots. Everything looks really, really nice. As far as the paint goes, it's all flat colors. There is no shading at all. However, for a 3-inch figure, the paint that it does have is actually really good. I'm always impressed with how much detail they can put into a small figure like these. You can even see the little lines in the Cobra symbol, and with the symbol on his beret. Now, one thing I wanted to point out about the paint is that when you remove his head, and you look at his neck, the main color of this figure is blue, so everything else is painted over a blue plastic. If you look at the color of his arm and the color of his neck, you can see that the blue is coming through a little bit on his neck. And when I turn his head to the side, you can see that the color on his face and the color on his neck is different. And there's a tiny bit of bleeding. For example, there's a little bit from his arm onto his sleeve here. But otherwise, the paint is pretty good on this figure. For articulation, Flint's head goes all the way around. His arm moves at the shoulder. It goes out and in and all the way around. It bends at the elbow. Rotates at the wrist all the way around. And Flint's arm rotates at the elbow. It goes all the way around. His upper torso moves all the way around. With a little bit of back and forward movement. His leg moves at the hip. It moves out and in and back and forth. His knee bends at 2 points. His foot rotates at the ankle and it goes all the way around. So his articulation is very nice and you can get some really nice poses out of him. Flint comes with 6 accessories. And yes, one of them is a figure stand. And as you can see, the figure stand has a Cobra logo, a peg, and Flint's name in front. Now it has a Cobra logo instead of a G.I. Joe logo because Flint is in disguise. And of course Flint has peg holes at the bottom of his feet. So you just simply place Flint's feet onto the stand. And there we go. Flint's next accessory is this belt and straps. And it's held together by a peg. And you can simply unplug the peg, which is the belt buckle here, which you can then just slip onto Flint. Flint's next accessory is this knife, and it is painted in this nice silver on the blade and the hilt, and a black on the handle. The knife can fit into either of Flint's hands, however the knife is a little loose. And the knife can also be holstered on the side of Flint's leg. Flint's fourth accessory is this nice handgun, which is a solid dark gray color, and it too can be put into Flint's hands. However, it too does not fit perfectly. For example, Flint's left hand does have a trigger finger. However, you cannot place it into the gun's trigger. Flint's next accessory is this Cobra Trooper head that you can replace Flint's head with. Simply remove Flint's head, pops right off, and the Cobra Trooper head pops right on. And lastly is the Cobra Trooper helmet, which this slips right on. Now, I would have preferred if the helmet had been permanently attached to the head, because it can fall off very easily, and I have a habit of losing accessories. However, with the head and the helmet, it's almost like you get 2 figures in one, because now you have a complete Cobra Trooper figure here, which is really good for collectors who like to army build. You can have a Cobra Trooper that likes to roll up his sleeves, and it gives your Cobra army some variation, so all your Cobra Troopers don't look all the same. As I turn Flint around to the back, as you can see, he has a peg hole in his back, which is usually for a backpack that often comes with these G.I. Joe figures. However, this figure does not come with a backpack. And for comparison, I have Flint standing next to other 3 3/4 inch figures such as Captain America and Luke Skywalker. As you can see, he can fit in very well with other toy lines such as Marvel Universe or Star Wars. Okay, here are a couple of comparison pictures of the figure and of Flint as he appeared in the episode. So, overall, Flint is a very nice figure. His paint is good, his articulation is good, his sculpt is good, and his accessories are good, and with the extra head accessory, it's almost like you're getting 2 figures. And of course, I love the fact that he does come with a figure stand. And it's really nice that I got this figure from a cartoon series that I love, from an episode which I do remember. So my final grade for Cobra Disguise Flint is a solid B. I got this figure from my good buddies at the crazykingsoftoys.com. They have toys from Marvel, DC, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Lego, Monster High, Milo Point, Masters of the Universe, Star Wars, Littlest Pet Shop, Doctor Who, Dragon Ball Z, and many more. Visit their website at www.crazykingsoftoys.com. Remember, that's a crazy with a K. Come find out why they are so crazy. I'm Tony Beers, and I'll see you next time.